The man they call Dollar Bill Kirill has been taking the entire league by storm, and is already a heavy favorite for Rookie of the Year. It seems that every time the dude touches the puck, it turns to gold. And considering the massive hype and expectations he had coming from overseas, it's safe to say he's lived up to and exceeded those expectations by a landslide. I've been watching a lot of Wild games as of late, and watching Kaprizov stride and generate offense has been super fun to watch. Since his arrival onto the scene, many have already been comparing Kaprizov to some pretty talented names. So for those who have been watching the channel for quite some time, you know what I had to do next. I decided to hop back on my Twitter and my community tab and ask the question, which NHL player, past or present, can we compare Kirill Kaprizov to? And surprisingly, the comparisons I received all seem to agree on a handful of talented players. Since it's been 8 months since the last How Good Is video, I'll explain how these videos go. Basically, I take some of your guys' best answers that I received and compare the player we're talking about to the player you mentioned. After comparing and contrasting the two, going over their similarities and differences, I give my personal ranking on how good I think your guys' picks were. So with that out of the way, our first comparison just may be the most exciting of them all.
Datsyuk in on goal, and he does it again! What a beautiful goal!
Oh my goodness.
How many does he have in his repertoire?
My! Look at this shake and bake. Look at where are we going? Oh my goodness gracious.
E_Lee15 on Twitter compared Kirill Kaprizov to Pavel Datsyuk, even giving his own explanation as to why, stating, quote, his ability to just make everyone around him better is a special thing. All throughout his time in the league, Pavel Datsyuk was must-watch TV, and there's no denying how special of a talent he was. And since arriving into the NHL, Kaprizov's explosive offensive talent has made watching Minnesota hockey extremely exciting. Datsyuk is known as the Magic Man, and this is due to his swift hands and puck skills, as Datsyuk was one of the most creative players of his time, and some can argue Kaprizov is already headed down that route. When Kirill has the puck, he becomes unpredictable, and can create chances even when it seems like there's no space to do so. The way Kirill can hold onto the puck at full speed is amazing to watch, and he has some of the best hands in the game at such a young age. Like Lee mentioned, Datsyuk was extremely versatile and can make everyone around him instantly better. Kaprizov has been able to do the same thing so far, as once finding chemistry with Victor Rask and Matt Zuccarello, the three instantly became one of the most underrated lines in the entire NHL. Kaprizov even helping Zuccarello have a massive bounce back season. The only difference between the two is that unlike Kaprizov so far, Datsyuk was able to perform both offensively and defensively, being arguably one of the best two-way forwards of his time. And although Kaprizov showcased his impressive offensive prowess, his defensive awareness can still be worked on. But honestly, I was hoping someone would say Datsyuk, and I'm glad that Lee mentioned him. I think I'll give this one a 7.5 out of 10. Tristan McGuire from our community tab compared Kaprizov to Sergei Fedorov, and his explanation is long yet extremely intriguing. Tristan states, quote, I watch a lot of 90s Red Wings hockey taped by my dad, and I believe just the smooth, phenomenal skating ability Kaprizov has is extremely similar to Sergei Fedorov, especially in the way he protects the puck at high speed. If you did a side-by-side, their skating and puck handling is almost identical. Well, let's stop there and find this out for ourselves. Here, we have Fedorov going up ice with the puck, and now we have Kaprizov on our right doing the exact same thing. Wow. They look almost identical, just like Tristan pointed out. Fedorov was one of the fastest and skilled skaters in the league. His edge work was phenomenal, and he was extremely skilled at maneuvering and possessing the puck at such high speed. While researching for this video, I found a shift from Kirill Kaprizov during a Wild Avalanche game, and it shows Kaprizov showing flashes of both Philip Forsberg and Sergei Fedorov. For exactly 1 minute and 1 second, Kaprizov skates around the entire Avalanche team 4 times, and is able to maintain possession of the puck and even generate a wraparound chance. That's absolutely insane. Fedorov's shot was one of a kind, and he was often known to completely take over games. Stars like Gretzky even took notice, stating, quote, I have never seen a player dominate the game the way Sergei did. Kaprizov's shot is also a laser, and already he's proven to be a dominant force on the ice. This comparison, backed with the explanation, convinced me. I'm giving this one an 8.5 out of 10. Now, this next one I found extremely interesting, and it actually comes from my dad. He's a big Wild fan, so I wanted to ask him to compare Kaprizov to somebody, and his response sorta shocked me at first, as he said Mark Messier, but he further explained it to me, and once he did, it actually made a lot of sense. He explained in his tweet that, quote, when he has the puck, he's the most exciting player on the ice. He can take control of a game and will score goals when needed. He can see the entire ice and find his teammates with amazing blind passes, and he's super fun to watch. And that's all true. I've watched as many Wild games as I've had this year with my dad. But there's another thing that was said during our conversation that really made me love this comparison. When chatting, he said that star players love the puck, and when down in a game, they want to score. And when the Wild have been down in games, Kaprizov's been able to bring them back up. Quote, he has that clutch factor. And that's also true. Kaprizov's been known to completely take over a handful of games, and his clutch factor is very similar to Messier's. In last week's video, we talked about Messier's guarantee and how he stepped up and scored 3 clutch goals, helping the Rangers advance to Game 7. Well, in only his rookie season, Kaprizov has shown that he's a leader on the ice and can always show up when needed, just like Messier did. This comparison is unique, as so far everyone has mentioned his elite hands and offensive prowess, but here we're talking about on-ice dominance, leadership, and Kaprizov's ability to take over and win games, and that's why I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10. Good job, Dad.
Special thanks to Paul for inviting me to come on for this. This is probably going to sound kind of biased, as I am a well-known Pens fan, but Kaprizov reminds me in ways of Sidney Crosby. It's interesting because if you watch him play, a lot of the plays that he makes and the things that he does makes you almost believe that he's a center instead of a wing, as he's constantly creating turnovers, protecting the puck excellently, and prioritizing playmaking over sole goal scoring. He's also amazingly great at his edge work and his edges in general, as his skating ability is just truly off the charts. Definitely one of those players that sees the play at a very high level and has the ability to create something out of nothing. So yes, number 97 reminds me in several ways of number 87.
Salty Wings and Avalanche fan said Pavel Bure, and this one may be short as there's really only one thing to say.
Speed. I am speed.
Pavel Bure was called the Russian Rocket for a reason, as this dude bulldozed his opponents with blazing speed, all while maintaining possession and getting the puck on net. When watching Kaprizov, the way he's able to take over and glide down the ice is mesmerizing, and both can seemingly stop on a dime need be. Bure was able to use his speed to outwork the opposition, create separation, and retrieve loose pucks, and he used his hands to absolutely dangle through his opponents. Some can argue that although Kaprizov is fast, he has less power in his strides than Bure, and that's perfectly okay, as Kaprizov is still able to get from one end of the ice to another in a blink of an eye, stunning fans on both sides as he maneuvers his way around an entire team. Kirill is very hard to handle one-on-one, as not only can he outskate you, but his stick handling and control allows him to create separation and throw pucks on net. Despite having high offensive upside like mentioned, his defensive skills are sort of lacking. Bure was able to evolve into a dynamic, shifty player on both the man advantage and the penalty kill, and he was also an underrated defender. However, all he needs is time, and Kaprizov could become an elite two-way force just like Bure was. I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. Finally, John Doe compared Kirill Kaprizov to Artemi Panarin, and honestly, the two are almost exact clones of one another. It's kinda creepy. First, both began their pro careers in the KHL, and both were actually late bloomers as well. Panarin had immense hype once arriving with the Blackhawks in 2015, and Kaprizov had similar expectations as well. And one last thing I'd like to point out is that Panarin finished his rookie season winning a Calder Trophy and gaining playoff experience. And as of right now, Kaprizov's Wild look like playoff contenders, and he might just be the runaway favorite to take home the Calder Trophy. John mentions, quote, nice shot, good hands, and although it's simple, it gets the point across. Artemi Panarin is explosive, electric, and crafty with the puck. His speed and acceleration makes him extremely fun to watch, and he has some of the most wicked hands in the game today. Panarin also holds a variety of different shots, making him dangerous in the offensive zone. Similar to Kaprizov, whose unpredictability, combined with his skating and playmaking abilities is almost a perfect representation of Artemi Panarin. His vision is top-notch and his hockey IQ allows him to see the ice more vividly, helping him set up his teammates and generate scoring chances. Both players make their teams fun to watch, and at the rate Kaprizov's going, we could see him racking up Panarin-like numbers within the next 2 years. I love this comparison, so I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. Based on today's video, it's clear that you all think Kaprizov is set to become a franchise-changing player for the Minnesota Wild. It's always fun seeing what your guys' comparisons are, as everyone's is a little bit different, but that's how it should be, as all it takes is talent, confidence, and a little bit of assistance to be compared to some of the best players to ever do it.